For the last 6 days, an organisation calling itself the Centre for Bioethical Reform UK has been waging a campaign of intimidation and harassment against myself and by extension my constituents in Walthamstow.
The general public were told that an MP was being targeted and harassed by an anti-abortion group. The general public weren't told that MPs working via proxy through the council to not only shut down political opposition but to criminalise those who seek to oppose them peacefully.
Excuse me, no. Have no right to take away. They have no right to take away.
Can you move out of the way?
No, because this is our property.
Stella Creasy repeatedly filled the airways with false allegations that CBR UK were engaging in a form of harassment, intimidation, illegitimate process and inciting of violence. If that was true, we would have been bundled into the back of a police car before our feet touched the ground.
Everybody has a right to have an argument, but there are ways that you can make your case without intimidation and harassment, and this organisation failed those tests.
How can a campaign that simply shows what an MP stands for be perceived as hateful? All we were doing was showing the policy that she supports.
A few months ago, this image was put up in Walthamstow. Do you think it's offensive?
No, why it should be offensive, no.
Okay. It cannot be a functional, healthy democracy if MPs are allowed to decide who criticises them, how they criticise them and when they criticise them. That's why everyone, regardless as to whether they're Christian or not, needs to pay careful attention to this case. So here we are in central Walthamstow. We thought it was necessary to display here in Walthamstow because the MP for this constituency is pushing the most liberal, the most deadly abortion law Europe has ever known.
We came here because the people of Walthamstow need to know the humanity of the unborn child and the tragic reality of abortion, and the fact that their MP, Stella Creasy, wants to remove all legal protections from the unborn child, meaning that abortion will be available up to 28 weeks for any or no reason. So this is where we did the display, just here. We thought it was a good spot right in the middle of the market. We've got the station that way, the shopping mall that way, and you've just got a lot of people walking by. So it was a prime location. And we always have to have our banners backed up against a wall so that you don't get people walking behind the banners. And so, yeah, we backed up here.
Over the last 3 years, I've done over 61 displays in loads of different London boroughs. I have never been closed down by the police or by local authorities, even when I've done displays outside of abortion clinics. This particular incident marks a turn because suddenly it feels like local councils are being able to use arbitrary powers to close down political opposition and worse, to criminalise them. This is really bad for free speech, and if there is no free speech in this country, there can be no social justice for the most vulnerable.
For the last 6 days, an organisation calling itself the Centre for Bioethical Reform UK has been waging a campaign of intimidation and harassment against myself and by extension my constituents in Walthamstow. From turning up in our town centre with a 20-foot banner of my head next to an image of a dead baby, to buying from Clear Channel billboards advertising in my constituency displaying graphic and scientifically incorrect pictures of fetuses near to schools, to their Stop Stella campaign, which explicitly encourages people to target me as a hypocrite for being pregnant and advocating for the right of all women to choose when to be.
Of course, our campaign was targeted on the person Stella Creasy because she is the architect of radical and deadly abortion legislation. Okay, it's not wrong to focus your campaign on a particular person. People do it the whole time. Stop Boris, stop Corbyn, stop Mogg, stop Hunt. You know, these are all campaigns that have been run. Hashtag them, you can find them on Twitter. But when we did it on Stella Creasy with her abortion policy, suddenly because she was pregnant, because she deemed herself to be a vulnerable person, was able to kind of make it out as if she was a victim. When in reality, the true victims of abortion are unborn children, not Stella Creasy.
She did everything in her power to try and shut us down. We put a billboard up through Clear Channel and she demanded on Twitter that they take it down. She said, "Take down this disgusting image." She apologised to her Twitter followers for showing a graphic image. This was an image of a 9-week living fetus. If Stella finds an image of a 9-week living fetus graphic, vile and disgusting, something is seriously wrong.
The event of October was a massive shock to me personally as a pastor of the local church. It comes more like a massive clampdown on the gospel of Jesus Christ.
So just to update you, what's happening is the council have issued some kind of paperwork that they've obviously put together overnight to try and get us to pull our display down.
After she succeeded in taking the billboard down, her next goal was to remove us from Walthamstow. Stella Creasy did not want the reality of abortion shown in Walthamstow.
Excuse me, no. Have no right to take away. They have no right to take away.
Can you move out of the way?
No, because this is our property. They have no right to take it away.
They issued Christian with a community protection warning, and they were now issuing him with a community protection notice. The community protection notice said that Christian Hacking could not come back to Walthamstow with images of living fetuses and dead fetuses.
We exposed Stella Creasy's abortion policy, and she tried to have us criminalised for doing so. Now, how can you push for abortion up to 28 weeks, and then when people actually show what that looks like, you have the full weight of the law falling down on them? What is she hiding? And why is she able to get her council to close down political opposition to her?
Is it harassing to give a leaflet to someone? Is it harassing to have a conversation? Is it harassing to ask a member of the public, what do you think about abortion? And just discuss views? That's all we were doing. And also we were just showing what the MP Stella Creasy is standing for. So how can it be harassing to show this MP's constituents something that she's championing?
What CBL UK is doing, it's good, and it's a way of showing people in our community that this is the way that is right. And I'll repeat again, there is nothing controversial in those images.
I'm very happy that we're appealing this CPN, and it's so important because it shouldn't be set as a precedent that views can be shut down simply because they're not maybe mainstream views, and criticism should not be criminalised.
The sanctity of life is biblical. The sacredness of life is biblical. And if we have a group who is giving total support to that, why is the church, the local church, not supporting that group to do the same thing? So it's a church issue. It's a biblical issue, and it's a thing that we must do. If we don't do it, we are not obeying the gospel. We cannot kill babies. We can't.
You see, there's a funny thing going on in Stella's mind, which is if you want a child, then it's a child, and you love it, as she does her own child, which thank God she gave birth to in December. But if you don't want a child, then it's totally okay to strip that child of all human rights, and it's called a safe, legal and healthy abortion procedure. And if anyone tries to challenge you, close them down. And that's why this appeal is so important, because actually what's in this appeal isn't simply the right for us to educate members of Waltham Forest on abortion, but really it's challenging the right of politicians to define who they're criticised by, how they're criticised, and whether they have a right to close criticism down just because they don't like it.